What's up, everybody? Bizarre, while we were getting ready, thank you for 17 months of Prime. That's absolutely awesome. Much appreciated. Glad you enjoy us enough to hang around for so long. I really hope that sun goes down soon, because my head is killing me still. I've got my light off in here because I don't need the brightness. What's up, Quampa, Sankey, Jack? Good to see you guys. Hope everyone's doing well today. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday at about between 4:30 and 4:45 yesterday sometime. My head just went. Tomorrow, CGI. My head has just been really a mess yesterday and today, so I didn't really have time to do it. And I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do it, because if I just do it on channel points, then it's just going to be the people who are here right at the beginning. And you can kind of look at that like, well, yeah, they were the ones here right away, so they get the privilege, of getting named. But also some people it's impossible for them to be here right when the stream starts. The other option is to do a raffle, kind of like we did with Aliens Dark Descent. But I don't know how big a roster in Phoenix Point tends to get, because right now it's pretty small, but we're not very far in. I don't think we're very far into the campaign. So I don't know what kind of roster size I'm going to be working with, but I'll try to figure something out before tomorrow's stream, since tomorrow's the big Saturday, and that's when the most. Also, there's a still very real chance that something goes terribly wrong in the current campaign and it winds up restarting. And then if we're doing a fresh start tomorrow, I'll have a naming option of some kind in place. And we'll go from there, whether we continue this campaign or not, just depending on how today goes. So hopefully my head hurting doesn't severely inhibit my ability to not lose, but it's a strong possibility. So, all right. So yeah, we're going to try to just hang out for a little while, have some fun, and see if we can go a little bit further. So we've made it a little bit further than we have before. We did Synedrian. Also, check in the Discord. I looked it all up, because I don't proclaim to be right and then not try to find out if my information is correct or not. But as Synedrian is a Greek word, I looked up the proper pronunciations, including in the original Greek, as far as can be, conveyed, and it is Synedrian, not Needrian. The base word would be Synedrio, which means Congress, and then Synedrian means council, and yeah, not E. So, yeah. We did the Synedrian intro mission, and we did the Poison Worm one, which was Anu. So the only other intro mission we haven't done yet is the New Jericho one. And that one, I think, has a mind controller, a priest in it. So that one needs to be handled a little more carefully. I'll probably try to do it at some point today if we can get there. We did lose a soldier, and obviously part of me was like, well, it's still relatively early. Do we just restart, since we lost one of the original two that you have in every campaign? You have Sophia, and then you have, is it Jacob is the sniper, I think. You always have those two, and then the others are randomized. We lost that sniper during that intro mission that I was referring to, the Synedrian intro mission. On the last turn, right before killing the boss, he landed 2 shots that did poison, but also did 10 bleeding. And if it hadn't done the 10 bleeding, he would have lived. So it was really unlucky and annoying, but we're going to keep rolling for the time being, and we'll see what we can do. So let's have some fun. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are. Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, thanks for being here. I'm The Voice, and this is The Echo, where everybody has a voice. That means me, you, Our games, our characters, our stories, our heroes and villains, successes and failures, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the wins, and the losses in all things sci-fi and fantasy, particularly and especially gaming. This is a place where we come together to enjoy those things alongside challenging gameplay in a chill environment as part of an awesome community of amazing people. That's each and every one of you. Whether it's your first time here, whether you're a long-time regular, whether you're a lurker or a chatter, whether you recently returned to the stream, stumbled in by accident, got here through a raid one day, found us on YouTube, are tuning on the YouTube side, or don't even know how you got here. The time you guys choose to spend here is awesome and amazing and extremely valuable to me, so thank you very much for that. And thank you for all the ways you guys choose to support the stream, the channel, the community, and me, and give me the continued opportunity to create this space, curate this experience, and share some good times, good vibes, and good games with a great group of awesome people. Today we're continuing our Phoenix Point Terror from the Void Legend Ironman campaign. We're a little bit further than we've been before. If this campaign keeps going, we may get further, you know, it could go all the way. But with the expectation of as I get into the middle and late game, there will be more mechanics and more things that I am so unfamiliar with that I stumble and get wrecked. It's also a decent chance we wind up getting wrecked and restarted. But for now, we're going to keep having some fun. Let's jump over to the game. Yeah, bizarre. I mean, that's the nature of games like this, though, right? Is sometimes that's just the way that it goes. You know, sometimes that's like any XCOM game, right? We've all played XCOM where it's just like every once in a while, the character in full cover and the target is suppressed and you're in full dense smoke and then it double crits through a 1% and you're just like, well, sometimes that's just how it goes. That's the ultimate expression of the statistical anomaly appearing. So, is what is. I doubt that, Anton, but I'm still learning the game, you know? So, I don't even know the game that well. So, we did lose one. We lost Jacob, or Jacob. Died to the infiltrator. Frustrating, but we're going to keep going for the moment. We have picked up a Synedrian sniper along the way. We recruited them from a haven. Because you're the only one I watch. All right, well, I'll take that. What's up, Dee Dee? Locker, hello? We're reverse engineering his sniper rifle, or we already did. We just need to build one so that he can actually use it, and I want to go ahead and do that. I need to compare. .120, effective range 63, ammo capacity 15, weight 4. So it's higher damage, higher effective range, and higher ammo capacity. It takes a lot of tech to build one, and it takes a lot of tech to make the ammo, so I need to be aware of that. So for now, our other sniper will stick with a Firebird. The game is modded, but only it's one major overhaul mod. We're playing with the mod called Terror from the Void, which if you type !TFTV, you should get a link to like the wiki for Terror from the Void. It's basically a massive overhaul mod that does a better job, in my understanding of it, of integrating all the DLC into the campaign in a less obtrusive way, as well as adding and tweaking some things from the base game, so. Okay, so New Jericho really doesn't like us, and that's really not surprising. Based on what I've heard, that's very often the case, unless you go out of your way to make them happy, in which case often I guess you're making the others unhappy. But, hey, Canis, welcome back for 15 months at Tier 1. That's absolutely awesome. Thanks, I'm glad to have you here. Any recruits? So it's just the two mediocre snipers. So we'll wait for that to re-roll. All right, where are we at? We're working to get this station repaired and functional again. And they need a radar. How much is that? Or a satellite. I said radar, but yeah. That's like everything I have, so I need to get some more materials and more resources before I do that. There's also a nest here that I would like to take out, but I need another crew since we lost one. I want to fill my crew. I'd like to pick up a recruit. So what would I want? Let me take a look at that. 2 assaults, 2 snipers, 1 heavy. It's either another assault or another heavy, I think, to fill in for the 6-man crew. And, like, something like a new Jericho heavy wouldn't be bad. I just need to be able to afford them. A Berserker also wouldn't be bad. You know, to kind of give us that close-range mobile option. That'll give us the advanced med kit. Well, no matter what, we're going to need some more resources to be able to do much else, so... Let's explore... Well... I kind of want to explore down this way, just because we did get a couple scavenging sites. This is soldiers, and this is a vehicle. So I kind of want to get down here. So I guess we're going to go kind of explore over this way a little bit. The rule of starting over instead of loading is good, but while I'm playing the game, I'm finding things I want to do differently. If I had to reach this point over and over to try a different strategy, it would take forever. I can totally understand that from, like, just a personal approach. It's just my approach of, I prefer an Ironman play style. I'm going to try to push this one further. That's why even at the loss of that soldier relatively early, I was like, all right, well, let's keep going. So. But when you're learning a game, it is a little bit of intrusive or obtrusive to play in an Ironman style and learn the game at the same time. But I also have to try to keep things interesting from a streaming standpoint. And Ironman things within XCOM-like games are often the most popular thing I can do. At least from, you know, what my metrics and everything have always indicated. I also think I learn better, even though it has the commensurate other side of I learn better playing Iron Man, but it's not faster because reloading becomes the nature of how a lot of things are, you know, just how it goes. All right. So after that, let's do the improved med kit. You know, laser weapons might be a way to go. Minutes, yeah, absolutely. I also think I just learned to play smarter, although sometimes more conservatively, which is not always a good thing, but I do play smarter, I think, when, once I've learned the basics, at least. Because mistakes are permanent, you know? You can't just screw up and just be like, oops, reload. Let's queue a couple things up just because I will forget. Okay. lot of information. I do have food that I could trade at some of these, well, not the New Jericho ones. Abandoned military outpost. Hey, a little bit of influx. Not much, but a little bit. Assault. Heavy, privileged heavy? No, thank you. Scav. What is scav? What's the, Here, I'm just gonna find out. Hold on. Eventually, I'll know all this stuff. I was just looking at it, too. Sorry, I know you guys are just seeing a black screen. Give me just a second. Really? Okay. Oh, did we get new recruits? Sniper. I don't need another sniper, man. I would have equipment for him. It's a small circle with a guy. Yeah. Volunteered isn't bad. Jetpack control's interesting. He's not a sniper. That's heavy, isn't it? Yeah. That's heavy. So why is it saying sniper? Because he's not a sniper. And I do want a heavy, but I'm going to have to build him equipment. Yeah, I don't know why it's saying sniper there. Because he's not a sniper. Yeah, sniper. He's a heavy with PDW proficiency and volunteered. I don't like volunteered as much on a heavy because the lack of WP is kind of limiting to movement control, you know, because they use their jetpack for a lot of movement. $968 materials. I could get a heavy there. So, where can I trade food for materials? They won't trade with me probably because they're pissed at me. Yeah. Food for materials. I can get 133. But they won't either. Yeah. Materials for food. But I want it to go food for materials, not materials for food. I could trade a little bit of tech. How much tech would I need to pick up this heavy? 122. So I could trade a little bit. How much was it? How much was it? 968, so 226 more. Yeah. I think I will pick them up. So, yeah, because that's gonna cost. If I can, will they? Can I recruit a soldier when they're pissed at me? I guess we'll find out. Yeah. Let's do it. So the advantage here is they're fully geared. Scav, perception and willpower. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. And then what is their unique takedown? Deal 80 damage and 160 shock damage to an adjacent target. Okay, this is where things like this are actually useful. Shock damage. Weapons that inflict shock damage can cause a target to become dazed. Okay, so just the same as the heavy from our own unit. The armor of the hit body part is subtracted from the shock damage value, and if this is higher than the target's current general hit points and the target is dazed, dazed characters will have 1 AP for the next turn and their accuracy will be halved. Additionally, abilities requiring points cannot be used. Will points cannot be used. Okay. Also, what do we look like? Okay. All right. All right. Return fire, right. PDW proficiency. Could actually be useful for, like, a fast option. Move and be able to fire a PDW. Okay. So now we've got 6 troops, again. Takedown is just better than bashing. Yeah, it's basically just an upgrade to bash. Yeah, they are kind of a blue tin can, right? But all right. Secondary class is expensive. Don't want to do that yet. Handgun proficiency, not bad, but they've got a shotgun for close. Quarterback gives me the speed, even beyond the grenade range. It's just 2 speed. It's very efficient. Goulash, I'm learning it because I came in basically blind, and I'm playing with Terror from the Void on and on Legend. So I'm making it harder on myself quite a bit, but I am enjoying it so far quite a lot. I can feel classic XCOM in it, but also feel where it's very different in some ways. But I like that. Okay. We're going to give you a better handgun since the other guy's dead anyway. I had ammo right there for it. It's not full, but that's fine. And then I want you to have a med kit. That's literally exactly the materials that I have. But that's fine by me. Okay. Okay, so they're going to need to be able to have a cannon that we can actually use. Because we don't have the research to make that. I could reverse engineer this. But for now, it'll probably be something along these lines. Once I can afford it. So I can scrap stuff, too. So that may be something that I need to look at for some things. Like, do I need this shotgun? I'll be able to make these. Probably already can. Or at least I have the research. Yeah, I can already make those. So I could scrap that one. Yeah. Give me a little bit to work with. Don't have these researched yet. There's a lot here. I do have the extra sniper rifle. Oh, you know what? Did I already finish the production on that? I did. Yeah, it's a lot of tech and materials. Okay, so for now, we'll keep you on the Phoenix Sniper for the moment. I don't want to scrap this armor, because I might wind up... I likely will wind up using it again. Scrap that. It's only worth... Just, yeah. Do that. Then they can at least have one clip with whatever the weapon they're using for the moment until I can reverse engineer that one. Yeah. Let's get that done real well. Let's finish that. Okay. All right. There was nothing else I needed to do up here right now. We just need to get some materials. I'm going to just let them heal while we'll just move up here and let them heal real quick since we're kind of close to our base anyway. Cool. Improved medkit tech. That's good. Okay. We're going to keep pushing south over here. So... Been increasing reports of severely mutated humans attacking... Yeah, I think that's the Forsaken? Is that what they're called? I don't remember. I only encountered them once in one of my campaigns so far. At Lagash, a young poet is making a name for himself inspired by the teachings of the Exalted. He has written an epic in verse that is part spiritual vision of the future, part guide to letting go of the old world. Despite the heavy subject matter, it's easy to read and entertaining, even humorous. Humankind's flaws are explained in ways that get loud laughs from audiences, and there is an overall feeling of hope. Florin, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Echo. Glad to have you here. You know what? Let's do it. New Jericho's pissed.
Blessed are those. There are some.
I'm just gonna hold off a little bit longer. Just we'll talk more about your stuff later, but yeah, this is in the mist now. Abandoned factory. Tech and materials. Someone get attacked so I can defend you and get some resources. Could attack the nest. We'll probably do that soon. We're gonna need to.
Research complete.
Okay, cool. What's the cost on ammo for this one? $38 materials, 5 tech. Let's do that. For now. Alright. I know it is. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah. I'm gonna piss off New Jericho the whole way, and you know what? That's fine. 2 exploration sites. Let's do it. Search the vehicles. Cool. Oof. See if we get there in time. Come on. It's gonna be tough, but we're gonna try. Alright. We encountered the Forsaken once before. The Defender strength is really low here, but I know the Symes Retreat is also part of the objective list, and the last time people made a big deal of that, that campaign ended, so I'm aware. This could be really bad. But, let's find out. I probably had some more skill points I could have and should have used, but yeah. Using the attack to fear some enemies who can see the character lose 2 WP. And there he is. That's the boss right there. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Ebon Fang. Virus rifle. Is that a melee? And a handgun. Okay. Those are the only 2 enemies I see currently. Is it the central structure for defense? And then we've got a Disciple of Anu Assault. I will probably rocket jump up here to get direct control of that assault. But I do have 2 snipers to start working over here.
Can't wait.
Yeah, you're being blocked. Can you make it? Not quite.
I'm here.
Not quite. You could go up there and then jump down, but let's see what happens with these guys first. I want you to be able to see the leader. Probably not a great shot, but let's find out.
I've got this.
Nope, it is not.
Waste of ammo.
Yeah.
Lining up a shot.
We're going to take a pretty low percentage shot here, too. We blew up his rifle, which might be something I would want to have recovered, but he can't shoot me with it now. So.
Ready. I'm on the move. Come get some.
Jeez, that's a lot of armor.
Receiving. Rolling out. Come get some.
Yeah, just not getting through. And that's kind of expected. Alright.
Moving in. Over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I expect there to be a lot of enemies, obviously. Oof. I don't like that. Shotgun? Yeah.
Already there.
Sure thing. Nothing will get past me.
I guess we'll see what happens.
Our foes draw closer.
I'm taking up like a king of the hill position near the objective. Alright, there's 2 of them there. That's something. Might be the only 2. It looks like it probably is the only 2. Gotta deal with them because they're okay. Both of them, they're right next to us. Yeah. But I gotta deal with the boss if we can see them because of the loss of will points from being able to see them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The boss is the 5th enemy that we've seen. Did he retreat because his weapon was destroyed? That's better than having to deal with him. Like from a, you know, yeah. I mean, I'll take it. Alright. We got this one over here, though.
That hurt, didn't it? Already there.
Alright, newbie. You're new to the squad. Let's see what you can do. We're not really aiming for the weapon, just aiming lower for a better chance of
That's our
connection.
move. Preparing to fire.
Yes. On the move.
Strike hard. Good to see you. Feel like it's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Would have been nice, but...
Here I am. Let's
Here I am.
Ready to engage.
Ready, willing, and able. Well, they're not dead, but they're damn close. A little frustrating, honestly.
Ready. I'm on
It's gonna
the
leave
move.
me open possibly to a really bad shotgun shot. So if they die... Okay, I just needed 1 bullet to hit, so... Or to connect. Hey, there you go. Can certainly understand that. It's been a couple weeks here that have been crazy hectic, to say the least, IRL, so... And missed yesterday because my brain decided to fucking... And it's still kind of there, which is why my light's off and it's a little bit dark in here. Okay. There's another Anu over there, it looks like, because someone got melee bapped. Yeah, there was a third friendly, yeah. There's gonna be... That one's gonna die. The difficulty here is just gonna be getting over to the objective. We're not gonna get much experience on the objective here. And if it goes to 0, you know, you fail that portion. They're gonna shoot the heavy. Alright. Nope, that was better for me. Oh, nice. Not as nice when you whiff all of the shots. Oh yeah, they're all gonna die. We'll have to rocket jump a little closer, but try to stay out of the melee. Did the other one die or retreat? Oh, I killed them. Duh. I killed them. I remember it only just happened. Shut up. We'll do our best to defend the objective, but I ain't overly hopeful for it,
Wait.
so...
Let's do this. I've got this.
Get wrecked. With these two tentacled things behind me, I had to deal with them, so I couldn't even really get close to deal with these guys getting inside.
Like the wind.
So I'll do the best we can, but... At least he'll be able to get a full attack off. He won't be able to do shit. And I don't know, the other one might already be dead, since we don't actually have a visual of them. They died right at the beginning of the turn. Well, he got one, it sounds like. Of something. That one's dead. So we've dealt with 4. 1 escaped. 3 have died. They dealt with 1, but... Oh, it looks like there was another... No, okay, that was an enemy. I saw the hammer and was like, oh, it's another Anu. But I think that's an enemy. Not even attacking the assault. Coming towards us isn't a problem for me. Specifically. Because he's not attacking the objective. And he didn't do too much damage, at least. Did he step out of cover, out of line of sight, though? Yeah, he did. He got just around the corner. That's irritating. That he was able to move relatively far, and then...
Ready to engage.
I mean, that's... It's gonna hit his arm. It's not a bad shot. Another 60 damage. Yeah, they do seem to be Anu as well. Primarily, at least. Certainly they're mutated. You know, similar mutations. If I had a way to get to him, I could get control of him. It's not a great position for you. Because you can't see shit from here. But dropping down gets you into their melee range, and that's really not ideal either.
I'm ready.
Don't like this guy being right here, and I don't really want to get that close, because that's... Hammer there. What do you have? Shotgun? No, virus rifle. And I don't know about that one. You could probably kill this guy with a shotgun blast, though. I'm just concerned about this melee getting close, but he's also... he's gonna die to bleeding, so it's not gonna matter. I can reach him, and then I'll just be standing there to die.
Running.
You know what? He hit him.
Failed to connect there.
Oh, I saw blood splatter. I saw a blood splatter like it hit. That's frustrating. Obviously, I didn't. I must have just thought I did.
Ready, willing, and able.
Just can't get an angle on that guy without being so close that feel like I'm in too much danger. Guess he's not really getting it through the window. He's gonna run up because he's got melee going for him, so I guess our best option might be something like that. Yeah, they died immediately. They had 60 bleeding on 38 health, I think it was, so yeah, they were gonna die. Really? Just did like nothing. And she's dead.
Help! I can't stop bleeding.
And a shot. Okay. Well, I said this was gonna go poorly, and yeah. $60 bleeding off of that one melee swing that also did 120 damage. And we did apparently nothing to him with our shotgun overwatches, I guess because of his armor. So, yeah, I mean, I'm aware of that, but... Alright, well, that is going to be a point of, you know, campaign restart at this point. We've only got 6 soul... Well, we're down to 5 again, and we're going to lose more, so...
Have to focus. Enemy down.
On it.
And you know what he just did? Mind controlled. Okay. No, not going well. We're about to be restarting.
Got it. Aiming.
preparing to fire. Got you!
Enemy still active.
I don't have anyone who can use melee weapons currently. So, no. Yeah, he's dead. Oh. We were pretty close to being able to get out of this with 0 damage to the structure. This one guy caused basically all the issues.
Reloading.
Ready to engage. See you in the next life.
Yeah, we were that close. But that's a huge loss. So. And we were already, like, completely wrecked on resources. So getting another replacement, especially for a level 4 soldiers, just, yeah. At that point, probably just restart. It's early in the stream anyway, so if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it now. Also, I think that means we lost the 2, like, named characters, are the 2 that we've lost.
There are some who still... Very well. But do not me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 120 damage from the melee swing with 60 bleeding behind it. That was brutal. $60 bleeding on 1 melee swing. Mr. Bloodborne, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Echo. Glad to have you here. We're about to probably have a fresh start. But I've gotten further this time, and I think one of the things that I wouldn't do as quick, I did this mostly because we got these scavenging sites revealed, which if I could get this kind of scavenging site early to get extra soldiers makes such a, or a vehicle, makes such a big difference. And so I activated this base probably a little prematurely, which hurt me on a lot of my resources. Yeah, I was definitely part of it. It's such a big swing. If, like, one of the first couple scavenging sites or exploration sites that you do gives you a scavenging site to rescue soldiers, and you get at least 2 of them out alive, that is so massive of a power spike for you early, because you're getting 3 soldiers who are already geared. It may not be incredible gear, but you don't have to pay for any of it. You don't have to pay for the soldiers. You don't have to pay for the equipment. That's huge in comparison to getting a scavenging site where you get 1 crate of resources and then have to leave, or getting an ambush, which is worse. We did defend it, though. You know, that was cool. Letting this get pushed over by the mist also, not ideal, but I wasn't going to do this without at least 6 soldiers, given how it went last time. Also, on that last turn, before the melee guy ran out, I should have put at least the Synedrian sniper, Hadrian, should have been on Overwatch for that guy. Because the shot they took didn't make much of a difference where they took it, but being on Overwatch for that guy could have easily taken him down. Especially a Synedrian sniper who is, you know, that's what they do. Alright. I think regardless of what happens today, either if we get a good roll going today, then that'll continue into tomorrow, but it's very possible tomorrow will be a fresh start that I tried to push regardless of early losses. But during the learning phase, it keeps save backups from like days ago. Like, I've deleted it, stopped putting it back in. I think that's on the Steam side, and no, because this is from GOG. This is not even running through Steam. Alright. Legend, unbuffed, vanilla random. Let's go.
Hello there.
Hey, Count, what's going on? Good to see you. Sorry, I know it's a little dark in here. My monitors are going to illuminate me quite a lot, but my head is still really hurting, so I've got the light off. Just trying to mitigate some of it, because I didn't want to miss 2 days in a row. I already missed a week recently because of all the IRL situation going on. I didn't want to miss another day. And I hated that I had to miss yesterday, and then mostly because it was so late. It was like right before stream that my head was just like, yeah, this isn't happening. Which sucked. Volunteered. Troublemaker on the sniper. That's useful. Nope. I'm not doing that game. Privileged on a heavy. Eat my butt. Hey, your heavy needs to carry really heavy stuff, so we're going to lower their carry weight. How about you don't? I mean, that's possible, but I feel like that happens in XCOM quite a lot, too. But it's a matter of if you are strong enough to absorb those losses that are almost guaranteed to happen throughout the mid-game. Because I'm still learning the game, I'm not getting strong in the early game yet.
On October 24th, 1945.
My monitors are actually, they look brighter than they probably are because of the way the webcam sends it, but my monitors are on like 30%, and they're also blue light filtered, so. Don't like that lack of strength. 120 health sucks. Less accuracy on a sniper. Alright, I'm gonna try one more. Yeah, mine don't flicker too much. These are pretty decent monitors. So they're not too bad in that regard. And I appreciate, you know, suggestions and feedback, but I've messed with every possible amalgamation of settings and everything I can for years because of the migraine, so I'm aware of all the little things to try and do. I've tried and done all of them.
That's a lot of damage.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945.
Gosh, what a shit start. Dude, you're just completely fucking me here, game. Hey, you know the sniper who should be really accurate? Yeah, let's and be able to see stuff. No, let's just fuck their perception so they can't see out very far. All right. My head's kind of spiking. Just give me a second. Ah. Yeah, that's... Hello, game? Okay, I guess we're just crashing. Yeah, I actually have been pretty low on my caffeine intake. I've had like one soda a day, and the biggest thing here is the sugar. There's obviously caffeine in a soda, but it's, you know, half what's in a cup of coffee. So, caffeine's not really my primary vice. Sugar really is, and processed sugar's so bad for you, but well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, Thorsnor, is trying to just get a decent, you know, I just keep getting like one roll on the starting perks or whatever they are. There just keeps being one that's so contraindicated for the class. Like sniper with shit, you know, accuracy, freaking heavy with low carrying capacity. It's just like, fucking stop. I should report the minor visual bug that I saw where I had a heavy showing, you know, giving the descriptor for
The Phoenix
sniper.
Project was founded on October 24th, 1945.
Like, come on, game. There's only like, I don't know, 12 that it can be in that first spot. Damn it. Yeah, processed sugar's still bad for you. Saying something is plant-based doesn't mean it's good for you. I don't know, Exorb, but it's really happy with it. It's like, no, this is gonna happen. I understood what you said entirely, Dee. But I'm also breaking down the first part of that, which is false.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945. The Second War to end.
My head hurts too much to argue with you right now. Sodas do have processed sugar in them. This one may have fucking high fructose corn syrup, but that's a processed sugar, in case you're wondering. Nurse isn't terrible. All right. All right, I'll just try. I'm gonna try one more. Double nurse there is odd. Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's see.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945.
It's like you just want to keep, like, that's 5 out of the last 6 times. Like, the strength is cool, it's hit points, but fucking the perception on a sniper is just, like, really stupid. Sorry, I'm probably really edgy, too, because of how much pain my head is in, so my apologies, but... It's not that high, because this is the first time I've seen it that frequently. And it's not... I don't mind it landing on soldiers. I just don't want it on the sniper. Of all the soldiers, it could land on anybody else and it'd be fine.
The Phoenix Project
But
was
stop
founded
putting
on October
lowered
24th,
perception on the damn sniper. Trying to weigh how much I think that's impactful. It really comes down to the distance you're firing at, which with a sniper is generally going to be relatively far. You know, it's a 10% difference in accuracy for a 10% increase in damage. The higher either of those numbers gets, the less impactful that 10% feels overall, but it's also a bigger raw number and obviously a smaller... It's one of the downsides to having, like, a pre-assigned perk or unique trait that affects stats, is giving the player no control over that often leads to situations like this, at least with players with my temperament, which is, don't choose something bad for me without giving me the option game. Right, but the frequency at which it's a disadvantage, I feel, is greater for a sniper than it would be for a soldier who's going to be at closer range where the accuracy may literally make no difference.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th.
But with a sniper, that 10% loss in accuracy can make a substantial difference because of the range at which they're often fucking seriously. Two people with less strength? I swear. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm trying not to mess with the mod settings that much. I don't need that much more complication to it. The fact that it's a defaulted on is the annoyance. It should be defaulted off. The issue is that they are not beneficial only. They have negatives to them. So If it was something that was purely, you know, beneficial even in a minor way, then it wouldn't matter if it
The
was
Phoenix
defaulted.
Project was founded
But
on
the fact
October
that it can
24th,
stick you with a negative inherently is a little frustrating, but... This isn't entertaining, so I'm just gonna have to roll with one here in a minute, but... It just keeps giving me some of the worst pairings that I've seen so far. Whatever the next one is, unless I'm also in a shit location, we'll just go with it.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th.
Skip the damn intro, game. Goodness. Wow, and the first two scanning locations are, like, super far away. Like, considering they can be, like, here and here. See, that's a problem. Less willpower when... I'm probably extra easy to get annoyed at tiny things that probably make no difference right now, so I'm sorry. All right. I gotta do something, so... It's a trade-off. Yeah, some of those are not trade-offs. Some of those are inherently bad. They give you a benefit that is not beneficial when it lands on certain characters, and a negative that is always a negative. So... Trade-off in some situations doesn't mean it's always a trade-off. Yes, I know Will can be upgraded by skill points. I'm completely aware of that fact. But making up for a deficit that the game hoists upon you at the beginning by using skill points, of which you do not have that many. Yes.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945. The Second War.
I might not have the focus for Phoenix Point tonight. I don't know. I gotta figure out why it's crashing occasionally. Well, the problem with turning it off by default is if it costs skill points to learn it later, then you're transferring it from possibly giving the player a negative, you know, pairing early to costing them more skill points later if it's one that they want. And skill points are, to a degree, a limited commodity.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945.
Whatever we... Fucking seriously. This is one of the dumbest ones. Yes, it's great to have the 2 speed and the perception, but the negative to carry weight is just fucking irritating. One second, I want to check something. Bear with me, folks. Trying to learn, and my brain's pretty foggy right now. Where was it? Yeah, privilege just... You compare it to the other, to its opposite, essentially squatter. Squatter gives you strength and a benefit to carry weight. Privilege gives you speed, which is arguably more valuable than the strength, and it gives you the perception, which at this point it's hard for me to gauge exactly how valuable that is. I haven't played enough, but the negative to carry weight is just a huge downside, and it completely offsets the fact that maybe that's the bigger issue. It's like, if you get squatter, it's purely beneficial. There is zero downside to it. If you get tunnel rat, it's purely beneficial. There is no downside to it. If you get paranoid, purely beneficial. Nurse, purely beneficial. So the ones that have a downside with them just feel worse. And I guess it's because it's countered by an arguably more valuable upside, but the fact that not all of them have a positive and a negative, it would be better if it was less positive with no negative on all of them, or if all of them had a positive and a negative tied to them, because then it's very lottery-like, in that if you get one that's a purely beneficial one, it may not be great for the class that it lands on, but it's purely beneficial, so it doesn't really matter. Whereas if you get one that has a negative to it, that's always a negative. Yes, there may be an associated positive with it, but the fact that you're looking at X number of perks that are purely positive, and then X number of perks that have a negative with them, and one of the biggest ones is this one, negative carry weight. You land that on the wrong class, like a heavy or a technician, and it's just fucking upsetting. Because the speed and perception do not make up for the deficit. Whereas if you get hard labor, you get plus strength and plus carry weight, which are both useful on everybody, especially because strength is also hit points, not just carry capacity. And then you also get the carry capacity. So by comparison, that one is just immensely good. So maybe that's the bigger difference there, is that some of them just have a negative, which is just gratingly intrusive, while some of the other ones are just purely positive, and there's no downside to getting them. That's just willpower and perception. There is no negative regardless of who that lands on. It's always just bonus stats. Hunter, just 10 accuracy. No downside, no drawback, useful on everybody. These ones, I haven't encountered enough scenarios for the ones where immunity is capable, but obviously it's just a positive. It never hurts you. Whereas here, 2 speed is awesome and expensive skill point wise. So it's a very high value in skill points, and I do see that. I'm not blind to the fact that that's very valuable if you're calculating it via skill points. And perception, again, I haven't messed with it enough or experienced enough to kind of gauge the full value of it, but it is a positive. But the carry weight negative to offset that is obtrusive. It would be better if it was like 1 speed, 2 perception with no negative to carry weight. Because the negative to carry weight is like, it's a price you're paying for the other stats. And the other stats are great, but they're not always great. As an example, speed is good on any character, but on like a heavy, a lot of your mobility, at least from what I've seen so far, you're going to use your will points for your mobility via your jetpack, not the speed. And the perception's not as valuable on a heavy weapon who's going to want to be closer to their target and not necessarily want to see them or hear them at that extreme distance. Whereas if that lands on heavy, the negative carry weight is crippling in the early game. So, and because it's a percentage, it's always doing the same, percentage of effect to your carry weight. Obviously, you may not always be carrying that much, but on something like a heavy or a technician who's going to be carrying a lot of things, super obtrusive. So, I think, at least in my personal, anecdotal, tiny, narrow-minded perception of it, the ones that have a negative feel much worse than the ones that are purely positive. And so it makes it, when you land on one of those, just feel like you got punished almost, instead of just getting the ones that's just good. Scav, for example. Just a positive. May not be the biggest positive, so maybe that's the thing. As a player, I would rather get, especially if it's something I don't have a choice over, I would rather just get a smaller positive than a bigger positive with an associated negative when it's not something I opt into. If that makes sense. It should. I'm not intelligent enough to word that in a way that it won't make sense. So. I'm not just talking about that one specifically, CGI. Any of the ones that have an associated negative with them. I can see where there's an attempt to balance it with a trade-off of a positive. And as was said, that positive is a positive for the entire campaign, and you can eventually offset the negative. But you're having to offset a negative to get the value of the positive. Again, it's a choice that you never made. It's just, here, you have this. So. Also, every time I've rolled privileged, it's been an issue. Like, it's been a issue that I could feel in attempting to field the character with equipment on them. Every single time. So far.
EYE-TV.
Hey,
Third
Pluteria,
yacht
what's
lane,
up?
Phosphorus monophosphide.
I guess the reason for toggling it off is, is because then maybe that's the better choice, because then you can opt into it via skill point expenditure, but that feels like you're almost. So here's the comparison, and I'm just trying to give feedback because I know there's someone in the chat who is part of this. So I'm not just trying to complain. I'm trying to give at least my feedback. If you start a campaign and you have 4 soldiers and all 4 of them roll 4 perks, traits, whatever, that are just purely positive, that's awesome, obviously. And then on another game, if you roll 4 that have some sort of negative attachment to them, that might feel less good. And then if you toggle it off, the person who had the negatives is going to feel better about that, because then they can opt into those via skill point costs later. And the person who got 4 positives is going to feel cheated in some way because they had 4 positives, but now instead of getting them for free, by toggling that one option off, they then have to expend skill points to then get the benefit they would have had otherwise. So it's that dichotomy of balance one way or the other. And I guess it also comes down to, like, when you look at them, how many of them have, a negative attachment to them. So Survivor has the negative strength. 4 willpower is good, and 2 strength isn't too hard to make up for. See, that one feels a lot less impactful, because it's not as hard to make up for that deficit. 4 strength, -4 perception, not as big of a deficit. Privileged, as I said, to me, it feels like a bigger deficit. Volunteered, -2 willpower, not a huge deficit. And then Daredevil has the -10 accuracy. So you have 1, 2, you have 5 out of 20. So 25% of them have a negative attachment to them. I guess part of it just feels like, why? Like, it's only a quarter of them, but then it's like, why is it only a quarter of them? Why isn't it half of them? Or all of them? My brain's probably not doing well at critical reasoning and deduction today anyway, so... 6, you missed History of Violence. Oh, you're right, I did. Yeah, -2 willpower. So 6. So just over 28%, 30%, whatever it is. Hold on, let me get this. Yeah, and maybe that's the bigger part of it. And okay, so I'll admit that this is from someone who doesn't have that much experience with the game, right? So I would imagine that someone quite experienced with all of the mechanics of the game as you go further in would see some of those where there's a negative association, but they would see the positive as outweighing that more. But as someone learning the game new at this point, I don't perceive it that way yet. I can see that I might for some of them, and maybe that's the first step towards getting better in those. But what Raf just said, it does feel like a no-go in a sense because you can just re-roll and roll 4 positives with no negative side effect to them. So, yeah, so it just feels weird that they're there. Right, you can compensate for them eventually, but if you don't roll one with a negative, then you're never having to compensate for something. Yes, I can see what you're saying, Etermus, where, 10% bonus damage is always a benefit for the whole campaign. But also, you could just roll where you're never having to compensate for a negative. And for a lot of players, especially less experienced players, that's going to feel better and more accessible. To not have to compensate for a weakness, just to gain the benefit of a positive, when if you just roll right, you're never having to compensate for anything, you're just getting purely bonus stats. So, yeah. I don't like the flooded map of Europe, my country is gone. Yeah, there's a couple, right? De Cruz that kind of just got the short end of the rising tide. Majman, that's something, that's like a consideration. And that's something maybe Olsen, that maybe I should have asked, is like, what's the skill point cost of it if you turn it on? Is there one? Because if not, then that's obviously purely just a better way to go. But if there's not a skill point cost associated with it, then it should be defaulted to off. And then you can just choose if you want to take it or not. That would obviously be the solution. So I would assume they have to have a cost. So 10 skill points only. You say only, and I agree that it's probably a very small amount in the totality of a run. But for a new player, having to choose to spend those 10 skill points early on, it's a big portion of your early skill points. Especially, again, if you start with it turned on, you don't have to spend those skill points. So across 4 soldiers, that's 4 skill points. But on every new recruit that you recruit through Phoenix Point instead of from a Haven is going to have the same thing. Unless those are always on and never, you'd never have the choice. And then it's just a matter of hiring the right people. Again, if you then see one with a negative and then the guy right next to him has one that's purely positive and all other things equal, new players particularly are going to choose the one that just has positives. So a lot of those perks, again, experienced players may get to a point of saying, yeah, I don't care about I can offset the stats, that 10% damage or that 10%, whatever it is, yeah, that's... So maybe I'm trying to perceive it more of how a newer player is going to not see that as easily. And maybe that's fine, right? Newer players don't always understand the intricacies of a game, and you don't change things specifically to cater to them. But it can be a gate that stops people from going further. So... does that make sense? I think it does. Water is evil. I don't know about that, Pluterio. Like, we need it to live. It's kind of important. Yes, a newer player won't play at Legend, so they get higher stats. I'm a new player, and I'm playing at Legend, so... are you sure about that? Most newer players won't play at Legend. You can say that. But to say a newer player won't play at Legend... most likely won't play at Legend, likely won't play at Legend, but I'm new, and I'm playing at Legend, so... just saying.
The Phoenix Project
it's not a
was
statement
founded on
of
October
fact.
24th, 1945. The Second War to end.
So, like, this is a good comparison. Scav, purely positive. Corpse Disposer, I don't know how useful, but there's no negative to it. Damaged Amygdala, I can't see a negative with it. Tunnel Rat, purely positive. So in this instance, I've gotten purely beneficial that have no drawback to them at all. I don't have any of the other positives that might be better, but are also associated with a drawback. I'm not sure. It also probably wouldn't be as impactful for a player. It's literally the first thing we scanned, too. I guess we'll just knock it out of the way. I was about to say, it probably isn't as impactful for someone who's gonna not be playing in an Ironman way, because then not only can they reload during the mission, so if there's any, you know, they can just purely gain the benefit, because they never have to deal with the downside, because they'll just reload if it's ever a problem. That's not how I play, so that's my own personal problem. So maybe that's why I'm more inclined to reload right at the start, because once I get a campaign going, I'm not going to be reloading and, quote, save scumming. I hate that scumming is associated with that, because while I don't particularly like to play that way, I don't want people to feel, you know, judged for reloading when the game is, you know, people play video games to enjoy their time. So I understand it, but the connotation of scumming attached to it, I guess, just makes it feel like they're doing something wrong. Coughing makes my head hurt more right now. Please stop that. I would also say that when I'm trying to give feedback, I'm probably more extreme on both sides of it, either in favor of or opposed to something, because I try to take my argument as far as it can go without going illogically, and then try to see it from the other side as far as it can go to try to make sure I'm perceiving it correctly. I often am not, but I try.
Area covered.
And again, today's probably not the best day for me to be trying to give constructive feedback because my brain is trying to kill me. Or at least that's what it feels like. He must have just stepped on a worm. But in a point where even the heavy can't see him? Or not. Why did we hear a worm pop? Well, there's a difference between Iron Man and, like, you know, pure Iron Man, or Honest Man and pure Iron Man. I generally don't do pure Iron Man anymore either, because just the nature of bugs crashing and stuff like that. I knew one was going to miss to the right. I literally almost said it out loud, but that was just almost guaranteed to happen, so...
Ready.
Exactly, Raph. Re-rolling, especially at the very beginning of the campaign, is more common, much more common when you're doing an Iron Man playthrough, because it's more important to get a solid start from which to attempt to keep an Iron Man playthrough going. It's the same reason for not accepting a soldier death in the first 3 missions. There's just no reason. Nice. Yeah. 3 good hits.
Receiving.
Come get some.
Oh. Fired a little low.
Ready. Nothing's getting
That could
past
backfire.
me.
Yeah, because this one, on the other side of the fence, is probably going to get through this gap now without an Overwatch covering it. Can he get close enough, though? Oh, he blocked him. Alright. Sometimes lucky. Cool. I mean, lucky. It worked as intended. Just, I guess, a little lucky in their move order. I guess that's another thing also to keep in mind, right? Is it something, it's a project that's still being done. It's not like it's set in stone, so.
Ready. It's all about the skills.
Ready to engage. Nothing's getting past me.
Inside.
Nice.
Hostile destroyed.
Ooh, very
Is that
nice.
really the best they can do?
Heck yeah. I do feel like of like the faction intro missions, this one is so much easier than the other ones. Because even the first time I ever saw this mission, I was able to win it. Whereas the other two just absolutely destroyed me. Again, difficulty being a major factor in that. I'm completely aware of that. Like, not even comparable in difficulty, really. Sometimes the grenades do great. Sometimes they do the other shit, but every once in a while.
Ready to engage.
Can't see the big guy? I think you can see him well enough. Come on. Yeah. Tell me you can't see him.
Check this out.
Really skip enter until I have a vehicle junker example. I did the intro Synedrian one last session. I did it once I had 6 soldiers, and it went really well right up until the very end. And the infiltrator landed 2 hits, which was like 80 poison plus 10 bleed. And if they hadn't gotten the 10 bleed, I wouldn't have lost the sniper that I did. That one, I felt that I was pretty okay in at that point.
Rolling out.
With 6 soldiers.
Ready to wheeling and
3
aim.
snipers particularly was very beneficial there because a lot of it was engaged at quite a distance. I don't remember the last time I actually tried the new Jericho intro mission. I only tried it, I think, twice. So... if you can get an early vehicle, the others are easy as well. That seems to be a consensus, and I'm willing to concede that that's very likely, you know, great. You know, the best way to go about it, so. And it's likely something I will try to do a little bit more. That's why you need a vehicle. I would say need is a bit of a stretch, but...
Ready. I'm prepared. Finger on the trigger.
I did clear one of them without a vehicle, and I could see that a vehicle is strong, but I could also see a vehicle as not being that great in some regards. Maybe difficulty is a big dependency on that, but 2 times that I've had a vehicle in a mission where there were multiple enemies with firearms, the vehicles got wrecked. So... yeah, the vehicle can't get poisoned by the infiltrator on that mission, but...
Let's have a look.
there was another worm. Damn it. That's irritating.
That hurt, didn't it?
No, because you missed him.
What's our plan? That was a kill. Receiving loud and clear.
I'm going in.
Guess it's my turn. I need an angle. Hostile on.
Wow. I mean, he's poisoned, so
Pretty sure that was
I should have just tried to manually aim it, but...
Oh no. Oh no!
Hostile injured. but alive
fantasy.
For now.
Just give the word.
Every time. For me, personally. I'm not sure if not using the med kits was better there, because it's going to take longer to recover, but I don't expend the resources. I need to find a better way to evaluate the different, you know, the relative cost to time ratio there.
Normally, when we... If you want to work with us, you still have to deal with the...
Takes a while to heal. Not that long, but... That's 16 hit points an hour, something like that, I think.
Research complete.
See if we can get some more materials, and maybe we'll try out a junker, since that's something that multiple people have mentioned, and I'm willing to concede that I don't know enough yet to make a personal judgment on that.
Research complete.
Alright. Raph, I believe it's the percentage of its detection, like radar range or SATCOM range that it's currently scanned, which reveals additional exploration points. So it's scanned like 29% of its radius, I believe that's what it's indicating. And you can see it like grows as it expands. This is probably still a little bit premature, but I do have the vehicle, so let's Let's see how that feels. It may be that it's better to wait until they're even higher level. You know, have a little more going for them, but... Let's take a look. Huh. Heavy weapons way more are held at waist level. I was talking about that the other day, and I don't think that I'd seen this. Maybe I did and didn't, you know, think about it consciously. But yeah, when trying to aim over like a low wall with a heavy gun, doesn't really work. Because they're basically turning it into the obstacle instead of over it. Very interesting Mad Max-like vehicle.
Ready. Rolling out.
I'm prepared.
That actually doesn't have cover to the side. But I don't really know where they're going to be coming from, so...
Area covered.
Okay. 10 regeneration. Alright.
Action. Here we go. It's a trap.
I always think everything could be a trap. That's 50 damage right off. Like, obviously that's 50 damage that didn't land on a soldier, but... It's like, it's not nothing, either. That'll do. Oh, you wrecked the window when he turned. That's funny.
I'm on the move.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that. The way that it was facing wasn't ideal. I did see that. Probably shoot my own car there. This guy's probably melee capable. Hey, I'm not really trying to hide it behind a tree, but there's a chance that that soaks a bullet or two, you know, that are fired at it. It's not a big chance given the size of the target, but it's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Like, if I can put something between me and the shooter, it's not gonna hurt, and it might help. I don't know if there is. I don't think there is. But it would be, you know, they have a little bit of action point. They can't move necessarily, but it'd be nice if they could, like, rotate. to face a certain direction with, you can rotate the vehicle. See, that's why I was asking. I'm glad I said something. But how? Right click. Ah, okay. Did it the opposite way? I don't know if he could. Well, and that moved. It didn't even turn him, but because I right clicked on it, but that's, yeah. I'll look at it more on the next turn. Ooh, nice shot. What's up, Jersey? Good to see you, man. Why are you up there? Get down from there. Not supposed to be up there.
I've got him in my sights.
Hey. You suck. That barely hurt. You know, Olsen, that's what I thought, but there's been like 2 instances where I disabled an enemy's arm and they still shot at me. Now, it was probably an enemy that had like 9 arms, but...
Oh!
Here we go.
Oh!
Yes, I know there's always an infiltrator on this mission. I do know that. Kind of want to blow this wall out. But... yeah, it's getting caught on the upper level there. Alright. We're just testing and exploring.
Heading out. Acquiring target.
Oh!
Well, they don't have their fucking crossbow anymore.
I'm prepared.
Correct. I'm sorry about this, but not really.
What was that?
I'll try and get there.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, well, it won't matter. Yeah, he ain't gonna land that shit. I really do like the free targeting. It definitely gives you, whether it's super... well, no. In the ones where I've made it even a little bit further, just the ability to blow off the arm of, you know, one of the fucking crab guys and basically completely make them, you know, offensively mute. Because they're otherwise quite difficult to kill, at least, you know, early on. They're quite robust, but just blow their arm off. Maybe they have a spitter head too, but yeah. How do you... you suck, dude. Like, it's a big target. And since killing a target isn't specifically tied to the experience that you get, if you can disable them and then they flee, that is as good as eliminating them. Not on all targets, because like you might want to eliminate them to try to get some of their equipment, or obviously later for like capturing. But the fact that you have the choice to say that's a really hard target to kill, but relatively easy to disable or to inhibit its offense is really good.
I'm prepared.
It's a really good feature. It's a called shot in D&D. That's true, you get will points for eliminating a target, so there is a continuous benefit, or at least a conditional benefit.
Shot went wide.
That's fine. All right. You are... not enough to break the wall. On some walls, and even I think on these walls, I've had it happen before, but I'm not that worried about him. Yeah. I guess I should have manually aimed that one. I think you would have still had a pretty rough chance at it, but... oh!
Target missed.
Way low, brother. Way low. Raph, I do the same thing, but I can see that primarily being a benefit if it was for the purpose of restoring some will points. He fucked my wheel up! Bro! What is wrong with you? I was hoping it would damage this guy as well, kind of like it indicated it would, but I'm not worried that it didn't.
Oh!
Not the best, but not the worst. Guess I can't get a shot on this guy because of this piece,
Acquiring
but...
target.
that is one thing that's troublesome, is they can lean out when shooting when you just tell them to shoot, but they can't lean out when you're trying to free aim. So if you're like right up against a wall and there's an enemy right around the corner, like a 90-degree corner, and you can just manually shoot them and the character automatically attack, and the character will step out and shoot them. But if you try to free aim, he just looks at the wall. I don't know if there's a way around that, but that's a little bit frustrating. Right, it's the same during Overwatch, that's true.
Rolling out.
I should have put the heavy on Overwatch, but I don't think anyone's moving.
Opening fire. That's how you do it.
Probably gonna go high. Alright, it didn't. The vehicle's obviously strong. The thing is that it feels almost a little bit too strong, comparable to the soldiers. So it does begin to feel a little bit like a necessity, and that's almost a little frustrating, because it makes it feel a little bit limiting on choice. Obviously, it's great to have it as an option, but if it's like an option you basically have to take to succeed, is it an option then? You know what I mean?
Finger on the trigger.
Oh, right, they're still standing there. They just can't do anything because their gun got fucked.
I need more training.
Okay. I guess, although the argument for that comes in basically the same argument as for playing on a specific difficulty, is if something is an option, but in order to succeed, you basically have to choose that option. It's basically like, it's not an option at that point, but it's also like you don't have to play on
I'm going in.
Legend difficulty, but you choose to.
Hostile damaged.
The firing animation's a little kind of slow, too. Chung, chung, chunk. It should be more rapid, I think. I guess one of the benefits over something like classic XCOM is it doesn't steal experience from your soldiers. Yeah, it's a minigun.
Hi there. My name? I'm being honest about our flaws, because I think, crazily enough, the whole thing works.
I'm basically going to select this just so I can
built
kind of
something
see what the difference is. So Tech
Then
and
you
Synedrian,
have our
okay.
gratitude.
Maybe the gun is just as rusty as the car, maybe. That's the thing is, it's not called an autocannon, it's called a minigun, isn't it? Minigun. It's a minigun. Ah. Fuck. Sorry, still fighting this back end of this migraine.
Research complete.
Have a good one, Etermus. Thanks for hanging out and for the info and help and feedback. Always appreciated.
Were a mystery, where others.
Guess one of the other ones I want to kind of explore as an option too is instead of buying a junker, the additional tech cost, but going for a scarab instead. Something we'll have to explore at some point. Well, we won't have to, but I'll probably choose to. It is a huge impact on your resources. Obviously, the vehicle's strong. I can see that, but... like, it's, you know, a massive impact to your materials early, which is probably something that's not as important, but...
Synedrian was built...
It's not Synedrian! Fucking say it correctly. Okay. Honestly, not very much considering it's like 10 apiece, damage-wise.
Research complete.
A bit too optimal. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder if scaling him down would make him too weak on the higher difficulties. But it feels like maybe you could find a balance there. I don't know. Fuck it. Let's give it a look. Because why not? I should have used some of those skill points, but my brain doesn't want to work. Ugh. I do appreciate you all hanging out tonight. I'm sorry I'm certainly not at my best, and the schedule has been so bad recently. We missed a whole week, basically, because of shit going on here in my life. And then the added stress of that has made my headaches and migraines very prevalent lately, but you guys are awesome for tuning in and hanging out, and I hope you're enjoying. I'm enjoying learning this a lot, so it is a lot to learn. That is a fact.
What's our plan? Moving now.
Because why not? This one is bought at the bazaar for like 600 resource materials, something like that. The marketplace, the bazaar, yeah. Really rotate it, but kinda does. That's what I said. Mad Max com, yeah. Very Mad Max like.
Born again anarchist.
2 more of them wouldn't do any good. Can only. I'd have to look if there's a maximum vehicle capacity on any aircraft, but it takes up 3 spaces, so. I think there's 2 per base might be one of the factors, yeah. I wonder if the floor closest to the wall can't be destroyed, or if it was just the way that that propagated. It can. Answered my question, so.
Yes.
I'm on Overwatch.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the vehicle is basically just almost a requirement. Because this mission with 3 or 4 or even 5 soldiers felt not impossible, but damn near. And so far, it's been a fucking cakewalk. And it's like the 2nd mission I've done, or 3rd.
Born again anarchist.
And the soldiers literally haven't even done anything yet. He's not gonna die. You know what? So what I'll do instead is this. It'll kill him and injure and maybe cause this guy some bleeding or... Yeah. Like that. What'll probably happen by doing this is the puppeteer will just walk out and, like, mind control them. We'll see.
Making haste.
Making haste.
I mean, the vehicle could still easily get destroyed here. I've left it, you know, exposed to all of them. But it does have 28 armor on the front. That was a lot of damage on that 2nd shot. Yeah, you're right. He died to the bleed.
You like that?
Okay. At this point, I imagine it is, yes. Okay. Ah, oh, really? Okay. Haha. Fuck you. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Fuck that tree. This angle of is just bad. Yeah.
Let's go.
I got this covered.
Acquiring target. Taking position.
My turn.
Ooh, good shot.
They crippled me.
Aiming.
That's worse. Jeez.
Moving.
He's dazed. Like, that is irritating.
One less to worry about.
He's dazed, right? Excuse me.
Took one down.
Yeah, that was so much more accessible with the vehicle, which people had said, but maybe it's not my resistance to that, it's just the fact that I don't necessarily key into that as a good thing, specifically. Like, the only way to make that really accessible is to spend the resources and go with the vehicle. But it's maybe just I need to be more receptive to the fact that I play a lot of strategies that I would consider to be almost a necessary strategy in a lot of the games that I'm very experienced with, so.
I had always... That is why I did not intervene. Could have stopped.
Okay, we did get a... Alright. It's okay, and maybe that's what I mean. It's a way to get through the early game. Yeah, at this point, it feels like the way to get through the early game. Not just a way to do it, but kind of the de facto way to do it. Or really the only optimal way to do it. And again, that's probably exacerbated by higher difficulty more than anything else, but...
The Disciples of Anu Haven is under attack.
See, and now my thing is really busted up, so... I guess what I'll do here is leave this here and put him on.
Phoenix, if you are receiving this message, remember...
This new Jericho neural tech we've been hearing about. It sounds like a pretty cool technology, really, but has...
You think so?
Interesting.
Because to me, it seems like...
Basically just seeing what the differences in responses are there. Or the result of the different responses is, I should say. Ah! Yeah, it definitely, the 3 soldiers that were with the vehicle leveled up faster because it doesn't take any of the experience, but the totality of experience on those missions is still the same. And it arguably makes it easier to obtain those, so... Maybe I'm just not a huge fan of the Junker. It looks, it's very Mad Maxy, and it doesn't feel out of place, but it kind of feels out of place in a way in the game. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the things are a lot of, like, the towns, you know, especially the Disciple of Anu towns are a little bit like shanty town. But, you know, the Synedrian and the Jericho, you know, it's all, God, brain, please stop hurting so I can think. You know, it's all shiny, new, sci-fi-ish, and then the Junker just looks Junker. And I get the Scarab probably doesn't have the same offensive potential just because it only has the missile launcher, I think. But I'll have to look at that more.
Ready.
Ready, willing, and able.
Still alive.
Still alive, but I'm barely breathing. Just pray to God that I don't believe in. 'Cause I got time while she got freedom. When our heart breaks, don't break even.
I'm prepared.
Best days were some of my worst. First. Yeah, he wasn't gonna get an angle because of the awning here, but I'm wide awake, she's no trouble sleeping. I don't think my sniper can get a line there. Because if he could, he can one-shot that thing. Yeah, no chance. My only experience with a Scarab is during the tutorial. You get one, so... And it has, like, the long-range double missile volley, but... That's literally the extent of my knowledge with it. So...
Rolling out. Watch this.
And it certainly didn't feel weak there, necessarily. I just don't know how strong it is. The minigun is obviously quite powerful on the Junker. Maybe it's not obvious, but it is quite powerful. It's a massive volley. Yeah, didn't get through. Have an entire planet to then use all the resources you can find. Reasonable to a degree, but also some of the resources you find might be horrifying things that you may not want to compromise and use. If we pursue it from a overly realistic standpoint and not just from a video game standpoint. We're not nuking them. So. Ow, that's painful. That could stop any time now. That'd be cool. Oh! That's a civvy. Getting wrecketed.
I'm prepared.
Because the vehicle had like 9 health left.
Finger on the trigger.
And it takes a while to recover that. I didn't have the materials to buy another one. That's the downside to getting one early, is it's a vast expenditure of materials.
Watch out, I'm moving in.
Let's show them what we can do. Moving to coordinates.
Also, I don't even know if there was another one available.
I'm prepared. You'll be just fine.
Exfil's over there? Yeah, fuck that.
Here I am. Let's do this.
Insights.
Got it. Nice. So even though I couldn't really see the target, we blew his arm off. He doesn't have a weapon anymore, and he's dazed and bleeding.
Here comes the Phoenix.
Slouching and everything. I'm just so drained right now. Sorry, I'm not talking a lot and being very engaging tonight either, guys. It's really not putting on a very good show this evening. Fuck you! That's what he said. You heard it. I heard it. We all heard it. Ooh. Didn't die. So he'll at least get a chance.
Ready to engage. Is that really the best they can do?
Nice.
Receiving loud and clear.
Alright. Blew him straight off the map. Maybe I should have just let him die. Get his shotgun. Is that the last enemy? It might be.
Gotcha.
I'll be there.
I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you bleed, which is not the words in the song, but he's bleeding, so go with it. Dead. I wanna be in the air for you. We didn't lose any civvies. That was good. Mercenaries refuse to be augmented or mutated. Mercenaries. What's the classification for what defines a mercenary? Is that like the guys you hire from the bazaar? That would make sense. Mutated, I know. Augmented, does that mean there's like cybernetics? Things like that? Like prosthetics? Or implants, something along those lines. Oh my goodness, my head. Ugh. That's painful. Oh, we got a little nest. Got us a little nest, so these guys. They're like, no mutations! That has 30 poison. It's interesting. So the deal with these weapons, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the fact that you can't manufacture the ammo and stuff, or the weapons. You can only get the ammo here, but they deliver it to you. It's not like you have to go there and get it. But it only restocks within certain time frame, like periodically. I don't know what the time frame is on it. God. Ah. Sniper. Assault. Daredevil assault. No mutations yet. It's pretty early. Don't really need another assault. Okay, I'm trying to focus here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to. My head's starting to hurt a lot more. Sometimes found in yeah, we did see some in boxes, loot crates in scavenger sites, so that makes sense. So, and looking at my resource pool right now, from being able to succeed at those missions and do defense early, I'm a lot better off resource-wise, even with the initial expenditure of the Junker. So, I can obviously see that that's probably the optimum strategy, certainly for getting through those early missions, the intro missions, because those give you a big influx. They intro all of your diplomatic relations, and I'm not necessarily ahead on resource, ahead of where I was before, but I hadn't done one of the intro missions at that point either. And I'd also had more soldiers and yeah. Obviously, the super lucky thing to get early would be to scan a site and it's just immediately a, vehicle location. There's the vehicle. Or soldiers. That's another really strong to find early. But the vehicle's tankiness, particularly in the Synedrian and the Jericho, I didn't use it in the other ones. The Jericho one, it almost got destroyed, but it tanked so much damage. So, yeah, and Aspida's not as beneficial early. At least not in those missions, but in other missions, I could see it being quite useful. And it was the one time we found it. So, all right, it's going to be a short night tonight, guys, and I do apologize for that, but my head is just getting worse over the last hour. It's been really climbing. But what did we figure out? So, a little more discussion, or a lot of discussion on the starting initial level 1 perks for soldiers, the pros and cons of that. I would say that I don't know if I'll continue this or if I'll start fresh tomorrow, but I'll probably just roll with whatever perks I get, and I'll do better by learning to play around those and extract the benefit when there's a benefit and play around the negative when there's a negative. Getting a junker early is obviously quite powerful. Probably something we'll adopt as a go-to strategy. And it does have that benefit of those first 3 soldiers that are fielding with it leveling much quicker because they're getting 25% more experience amongst themselves, as opposed to a 4th or then a 5th or 6th soldier. So leveling is faster. But I can see that, and someone else said this, and it's very much like classic XCOM. In the early game, an HWP is excellent. But the further you go, the more likely it is that 2, 3, and certainly 4, well, in this case, 1, 2, or 3 soldiers, a high enough single, a powerful enough single soldier is probably better than a junker. 2 is definitely better after a very early point, and 3 is going to be better even early, but you don't have access to 3 soldiers that early, so. Yeah, scav sites, scavenging sites, I can see it being very beneficial, or getting ambushed being very beneficial, not only from the standpoint of being able to potentially fight back better and get more resources out of the site, but the ability to transport a soldier very rapidly across a larger portion of the battlefield. So we'll explore that more for sure. And I do apologize. We missed yesterday, and today's going to be a short day. My head is just absolutely killing me, and I've got to still try to eat something tonight and then try to get enough sleep to give you guys a good stream tomorrow. So we'll wrap up there tonight. I do appreciate each and every one of you hanging out. We had a couple new followers. For those of you who are new to the stream, maybe checking me out for the first time, this is not me at my finest. I'm battling the back end of a migraine today, so I'm a little low energy and a little bit probably on edge. So yeah, I know they have a big inventory. So I remember seeing that on the Aspida that one time that we had one. So, and I was saying, it would probably delay you by a couple more days, but I might look at the option of a Scarab and kind of weigh between the Scarab and the Junker and see how they feel comparably. So, but yeah, you guys have been absolutely awesome tonight. To the new followers and new faces, very much appreciate you guys hanging out, and check me out tomorrow. We'll be live earlier. On Saturdays, it'll be between noon and 1 tomorrow. I'm going to aim closer to noon, but that's going to depend on how I feel and how much rest I get tonight. But between noon and 1 tomorrow, we'll start, and we'll have hopefully a really nice long Phoenix Point stream tomorrow and have a lot of fun. So thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for the good times, good vibes, good conversation, as always. I'm super blessed to be able to do this. You guys make it possible, and I can't thank you enough for that. And I will see you all next time, right here in the Echo, where each and every one of us has a voice. Good night. God bless. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you next time. Be good people. That's an order. Take care, folks.